Well, hello, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. Jiu-Jitsu 2000 here today. I'm back, and I hope you are doing fantastic out there. In this video today, we have another offering from VEVOR. This is their all-in-one diesel heater. Now, I'm really excited about this one because I've reviewed lots of diesel heaters on the channel, so I'm anxious to find out what this one looks like. So let's take a closer look and get this thing unboxed. Okay, I'll take my Yuko fork and I'll use the knife edge here to cut this tape. Let's get this bad boy open. So as you can see, this diesel heater is model XMZ/D1. It's a diesel heater rated at 12 volt DC 40 watts, and it's an 8 kilowatt heating output. Net weight is 8.55 kilograms, or the gross weight is 9.4 kilograms. The dimensions 480 millimeters by 205 millimeters by 485 millimeters, and this is a product out of China. The first thing that you can see here is this portion, and then there is the user manual. So this is the diesel heater user manual. This is some of the different models that they offer. So we are going to be looking at this unit here, this tall one. Some information. I'm not going to go through all this. These are the parts that go onto the 3-inch pipe. So very cool. Next thing that we see is the heater itself. And let's see how we're going to get this out of the box. Lay it on its side and pull it straight out. Just like so. Move the box out of the way. And there's nothing left in this box, by the way. So we'll set that aside, and I'll just put this old packing in that box. As you can see, these foam inserts, the thing comes packaged very well. So they do a good job on packaging. On the bottom here, once we take this plastic off, this cover, on the bottom of the heater, you'll notice there's a box that's full of accessories. So let's go ahead and cut that tape and see what's included in this box. A lot of the standard stuff that we see with a diesel heater. So starting off, we have the exhaust pipe. Very nice. Now, I always look at one of the ends that's short because that's the end that I like to put on the bottom of the heater. It gives me a quicker 90-degree angle so it doesn't take as much space underneath the heater. So very nice that they include that. Right here we have the air intake pipe, and we have the pipe. This is the 3-inch pipe that the heat comes out of. And this is the pipe that will go onto this. You know, if you wanted to put this through a wall or something like that and have a duct right here. I think that's cool. The next thing that we see is a bag full of components. This is the air filter. We have some clamps, some screws, some bolts, a little bit of everything, hardware to install this heater. And then lastly, we do have a muffler, which does have a bracket and a couple of self-drilling screws, so we can mount this muffler to a wall or a piece of wood or something like that. Very nice. Looking underneath the heater, you can see right here, this is the fuel line, and right next to the fuel line is the air intake, and away from the fuel line is the exhaust. So very cool. If we look at the back of the unit, you can see we have a 12 volt fused wire, so you have a positive and a negative. This can be connected to a deep cycle battery, and this is a fused area. So I like that they put a fuse here. That is nice. Let's open this up and see how many amps that fuse is. They are running a 20 amp fuse. So very cool. Let's take a closer look at this tag here. So feel free to pause your screen if you want to read any of that information on the tag. And then of course, moving on to the side of the heater, you can see it says VEVOR, tough tools, half the price. I like that. VEVOR is good stuff. You can see these little cutouts which give you a visual so you can see the level of fuel that you have. Now this unit holds 5 liters of diesel fuel. Flip it around to the front of the unit. This is the business end. This is where the heat comes out. And here is your controller, and then of course your remote. So you have on, off, up, and down. Very simple, very basic, but I like it that way. It's very, very basic. On the top of the heater, we have a cap here where we can put our diesel fuel in. Just goes right there in that cap. Now, curiosity here, what is it like to take these clamps off? You push these things down here. I don't have any fingernails. Just get them just like that. That's pretty cool. Let's try the other side. See how easy it is to take this thing apart. I kind of like that. Let's kind of just unhook. Is it going to fit over this cap here? We're going to find out. Yes, it does. Look at that. That is fantastic. That comes off very easily, and this is pretty sturdy. I like that they did that. I like the way that works. So inside here you can see all the components of the heater, and it's a little bit flimsy without that metal on the top. That's kind of the skin that holds it all together. So you got the fuel tank here, you got the fuel pump, you've got the heater on the bottom, and pretty self-explanatory. Pretty simple little unit. Got a little bit of a wiring harness and stuff like that, and it looks like it's put together fairly well. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back together. Shouldn't be too difficult. We'll just put this over here just like this, right down over the cap, and then just like what we did a second ago, I'm just going to hook these into these little grooves here and pull upward, and it'll lock everything into place. I really like that. I think that's a nice design that they did. It makes for easy maintenance because you don't have to go grab a drill and have a bunch of screws to take out. It's just those 4 little clamps, and they lock in place very well. Look at that. That's pretty effective. So now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and install the exhaust pipe. I'm going to get some fuel in here. We'll hook it to a battery and we'll fire this bad boy up. I'm so excited. So if you look at the back of the heater, there is a hole right here. Now this hole could be used for air inlet. We could also run the exhaust out here, but I don't want to run the exhaust anywhere near this fuel line. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to just run the exhaust line straight out the side. So we'll just set this. We're going to choose the one that has the shorter end here. We'll stick that around, and then we'll just give it a nice sharp 90-degree bend, getting that exhaust out of the heater. So something like this. We're going to bend this, get it as good as we can here, and I think that'll work. Now what I want to find out is when I set this down, is it going to sit on that pipe? And yes, it will. And if you notice on my bench here, I've had a diesel heater burn my bench before because it was touching, so I'm going to have to set this on bricks or something to get it up off of the ground. So that's no problem. It's just a matter of knowing if you need to do that or not. Now I'm going to get pretty basic here, folks. I have just a couple of 2x4s from a project. So let's go ahead and lift the heater up. We'll set it up on top of these 2x4s. This is pretty basic, pretty crude, but it gives me plenty of airspace underneath the exhaust pipe, so we should have no problems at this point. We only need about a 1/2 of an inch, maybe an inch, and we have plenty of space underneath, so I'm ready to fire this thing up here pretty soon. Okay, let's go ahead and take this Golden Mate deep cycle lithium phosphate battery, and we're just going to connect these wires It does not need anything significant. It's a very straightforward setup. Okay, let's go ahead and strip these wires back a little bit longer. Just like that. We'll do the same thing with the positive, and this will give us enough wire to wrap around the bolts on this little 20 amp Golden Mate battery. So we'll wrap that like so, just like that. We'll hold this in place. There we go. That's all we need there. It's very straightforward, very easy process. You see a little tiny spark there, and that's normal. We just made a connection. So there we have the battery now in place. So for the sake of testing, we're just going to pull this muffler out, take the plastic off, and we're just going to slip it right on to the exhaust pipe. Just like that, nothing fancy, very basic. We have our battery connected. We are just about ready to go, and at this point I'm going to put some diesel fuel in this tank. Cool thing about this is those sight glasses on the side. You can see how much fuel you have in the tank. I really like that. There, that's probably enough for now. We'll put the cap on. Okay, let's go ahead and turn this unit on. We have 3 buttons: left, right, and center. The center button is going to turn this unit on. So let's go ahead and push that button.
Start heating.
Start heating, it says. It's given us the temperature in centigrade and the elapsed time. And now we're just going to wait and see what happens. Let's disconnect this remote. So very nice that they include a remote. I can feel the fan. So it just takes this thing a minute to get started. If you want to increase the temperature, you push this button on the right, and you can go all the way up to 36 degrees centigrade. And if you want to decrease the temperature, you push the button on the left, and you can go all the way down to 8 degrees centigrade. But for our testing today, we're going to go all the way up to the highest number that we can get. 36 degrees. So there's a few things that is happening right now. The fan is running, and here in a second you're going to hear some clicking sounds of the fuel pump. That's going to be delivering fuel to the combustion chamber. There it is. You can hear that thing clicking. That's a normal sound for these diesel heaters, and this one's not very loud from what I can see right now. Look at that, the remote's already paired. That is cool. A lot of these don't come with the remote already paired, so I like that. So if you're laying in bed, you can, oh, it's getting a little warm, you can turn it down or you can turn it up remotely. I like that. And I can't stress it enough, I like that they come paired out of the box. That is fantastic. So now we're starting to heat up. So as you can hear, the fan speed is slowly increasing. We can hear the pump going. We have plenty of fuel in there. It's pretty full. The fan is ramping up. I just heard the combustion begin. So we are now producing a combustion. Probably gonna see or feel some exhaust heat coming out. Yes, I feel exhaust heat. That's pretty cool. And now I'm starting to feel heat coming out of the port here. Nice. That's an easy heater to set up. It doesn't take long, and that little Golden Mate 20 amp battery is plenty strong enough to run this diesel heater. Now you're seeing a little bit of smoke here. That's just the first burn-in of this exhaust pipe. Nothing is wrong, so you want to make sure that when you fire these up for the first time that you do them with plenty of ventilation. In fact, anytime you burn these, you need that exhaust vented out. So that's why I'm doing it out here. Plenty of heat coming out of there. I like that. So we have this thing on the highest setting right out of the gate. This will stop smoking here in a second. That's all the oils and stuff that come on that exhaust pipe from the factory. Very cool, and I like that a 2x4 was plenty of room to lift this up just high enough to get it up off the table. That exhaust pipe is still about 1/2 inch above the work table, which is perfect. So it's putting out a lot of heat. I just absolutely love the type of heat that diesel heaters provide. It's a very clean heat, and it's a very warm heat, to the bone kind of heat. Now if you notice, the exhaust pipe is starting to stop smoking, so it's hot enough that it's burned off the majority of the stuff that it had on it. These diesel heaters work very well, and I absolutely love the fact that you have these sight glasses. You can see in real time how much fuel you have left. Now you can burn one of these diesel heaters for between 15 and 20 hours on a tank of fuel. So they get pretty good performance and pretty good fuel efficiency as well. Wow, that is hot. So as this thing's running, if we want to change the temperature from centigrade to Fahrenheit, we will push the up button for more than 3 seconds, and we'll see the temperature will change to Fahrenheit. There we go. Now we can look at this in Fahrenheit. I like that because a lot of diesel heaters don't offer that. It says that we're at 69.8 degrees Fahrenheit. Very cool. Now if we want to lower the temperature, we can push the down button. All the way to the lowest temperature possible, 46.4 degrees Fahrenheit. And now you can hear the unit kind of settling down, and it's going to adjust to that lower setting. Now this temperature that you see reading right here is what it thinks the ambient temperature of the air is. So that's very cool. So again, we have it all the way down to 46.4 degrees. That is our goal. Again, that was really easy. If you wanted to go back to centigrade, you would just push and hold for 3 seconds the up button. So the same thing applies here. We're down at the lowest temperature of 8 degrees centigrade, and the ambient temperature is 22 centigrade. And then again, if we want to increase our performance, we'll just push the up button to the desired heat that we want. And the max in centigrade is 36 degrees. And then again, you'll hear the heater ramp up, and it'll start heading into that direction. Let's change it back to Fahrenheit. 71.6 degrees in where I'm standing right now. That's the ambient temperature, and our goal is 96.8 degrees Fahrenheit. So this thing's gonna crank, and right now it's in automatic mode, so that means when it gets up to that temperature that we've desired, the heater's going to start ramping itself down to not work as hard. It's not going to go crazy the whole time is what I'm saying. So when the set temperature that we're looking for is reached, because we're in auto, the heater's going to adjust accordingly. So I'm going to go down just a little bit above the ambient temperature. Let's go to like maybe 72 or something like that. See what happens. Let's go to 73.4. So because we're in auto, when it reaches 73.4 in the ambient temperature, the heater is going to settle down. Very cool feature. You can also change the mode from the automatic mode to the run mode, and what you'll need to do is you'll push and hold the off button for more than 3 seconds. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. Now we are in manual mode. So from here we have the ability to go up or down from 1 all the way up to 10. But I like it in automatic mode personally, so I'm going to push and hold and go back to that automatic mode. And let's go to 73.4. I like that because the heater will respond based on the temperature that you are in. So very cool. And if it gets colder during the night, the heater is going to ramp up and it's going to try to keep it at that set temperature. So now let's play with this remote a little bit. We got to be careful not to push the off button. I'm going to go to the temperature down button and let's see what this does. We're going to go down. You see the temperature is responding. We're going to just click it until we get to the lowest setting, 46.4 degrees. So you'll hear the heater will start adjusting itself to relax because we are way above the temperature that I just set. Now if we want to climb up in temperature and go to max, we'll just push the positive button right here. We'll just push the positive button and we can go all the way up to the highest setting. See, we're just climbing up. And now you can hear the heater responding. Now it's going to try to make it 96.8 degrees is what it's going to aim for. I love the automatic setting that this heater has. A lot of them don't have that. I like on the remote when you push a button you can see that little blue indicator acknowledging, so you know that your remote is working. 46.4 is good for me. Now when you're finished, you can just push this off button. And it takes about 5 minutes. It says stop heating. It takes about 5 minutes for this thing to go through its cool down cycle. So it's going to stop everything, but you're going to still continue to hear the fan blowing. It's going to cool off this unit. Do not disconnect the heater from the battery source. If this is still hot, you will fry circuitry on this system. So you don't want to do that. You want to let it go through its shutdown cycle. Again, it takes about 5 minutes. It's not hard to do, just a matter of being patient. Right now you can see the word off is flashing. When it's finished, it will stop flashing and I think this screen will go dark and it will give us another audible thing. It'll say, thank you for using, have a safe journey, or something to that effect. So we're just going to wait for that to happen. And then once that happens, then if we needed to disconnect from the battery, we could. So I'm just going to stand by and wait for that to happen.
Thanks for using. I wish you a safe journey.
Thanks for using. I wish you a safe journey. Now the cycle is complete. We can disconnect from the battery if we needed to. So right now you can see the heater is installed in an off-grid type situation. So it's installed in a tiny house. So to look a little bit closer, I just put some little 2x4 blocks and then I plumb the exhaust out of the building. So very nice, it's very easy, and that's what it looks like. There's plenty of room underneath for that exhaust pipe. Very simple, easy solution for a tiny house. And that is what the exhaust looks like coming out of the tiny house. So it's a very clean installation, no problems. It works very well, it's very effective. Now some of you watching might be wondering about this small lithium iron phosphate battery. And you might be concerned about how do you charge this battery when you're off the grid. It's really simple. You could use a small solar panel. Literally, you could get away with like a 25-watt solar panel to keep that battery fully charged. You just need a cheap solar panel and a cheap charge controller, and you could keep this thing topped off all the time, so that anytime you want to run your diesel heater, you could absolutely do so. And then of course I put a little piece of cordage around this handle so that it'll keep this remote close, and then in the event that I need to take the remote with me, maybe I'm going to go get in bed for the night, I can take it with me and turn this thing up or down or off or on, and when I'm finished with the remote the following day, I can bring it back and put it right back on the cordage so I won't lose that remote. Now on this page there are some instructions of how to use the unit, how to change some of the settings, change from Celsius to Fahrenheit. There's a timer setting. So there's some good information right there. This is one of the most important pages probably in this user manual. And the next page that's important is these error codes. Now I thought that it would be good to show this page in the manual that talks about the error codes, just in case anybody gets an error code. So I'll come closer and we'll just kind of scroll down this page here. Just in case anybody gets an error code, you'll know what to look for. So there's the first page of error codes. And then here is the second page of error codes. So hopefully that helped you out. And right there you can see the unit that we have. And then down below there is the packing list of everything that came included in the package. And then that packing list continues up here. So they've included everything you need, and it makes it very easy to install one of these units. So my final thoughts on this diesel heater are very simple. I love this unit. I want to say thank you to VEVOR for sending this unit out for review. Just like all the diesel heaters that I've reviewed in the past, it puts out a very dry, clean heat. I love that. And I love the fact that this one has an automatic setting, so you can set the temperature that you desire and the heater will do its best to reflect that temperature. I just love it. I love the fact that it includes all the things that you need to get this thing installed, and it's very easy to set up. I love the all-in-one units. I like the fact that it's narrow, because if you have a limited amount of space and you want to put that heater into a small space where you don't have a lot of room, that taller design could work well for you. And maybe you're in a van or something like that and you just don't have the horizontal space, but you do have it vertically. The fact that they put the heater on the bottom of the gas tank makes it a taller unit and much better for tight spaces. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you're interested in this diesel heater, I'll put a link in the description box down below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. We'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.